Welcome to today's micro training on testimonials, how to get testimonials. Most of you know me, but in case you don't, I'm Sarah Livieri. I'm a #1 international best-selling author, former executive director, and creator of the Impact Method. And I love helping nonprofits change the way they operate so they can make an even bigger impact without getting overwhelmed and burning out. And as you probably know, because you read the description when you came to this training, nothing builds trust and confidence quite like hearing about someone else's great experience. Testimonials add value for potential clients and donors, helping them feel safe and connected. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to grab a fantastic testimonial that is going to make this kind of difference. And as I often do, I've made an acronym to help you remember what to do. So AIR is our testimonial acronym. You need to ask, interview, and refine. So ask, straightforward. You need to ask for the testimonial. The trick with this is when to ask. You want to ask when your client, you can also, by the way, get testimonials from volunteers, donors as well, but volunteers are helpful, and client testimonials go a long way for both your clients and your donors. So they do double duty. If you're a membership organization, you want client member testimonials for sure to help new members join the fold. So when is the best time to ask? You want to ask them when they're at the most exciting part of their journey. So usually this is just after they've started to see results. And this is oftentimes about 80% through your program. This is a really rough rule of thumb. So if you have some sort of program, think about when is the most exciting moment while they're still with you. If you're, working with a homeless population, is that the moment just as they've kind of signed a lease on their first new permanent place, or maybe they've gotten a job offer, or maybe they've just gotten their resume together? What is it that you do with them? And what is that moment at which they're most excited? Oftentimes, it doesn't make sense to wait all the way to the end, especially if your program is longer, because when we're at the very end of things, our excitement has burned down a bit. If you're a membership organization, I want you to be thinking about right at the moment that they've signed up for membership might be a perfect time, or just after they've received some of the great first benefits of membership is a great time to capture a testimonial. Interview. Once you've asked permission and made the request to get the testimonial, I want you to interview them. Ideally, you should record this interview. It's a great time to be doing interviews over Zoom. Record the session in speaker view. Typically works best so that you have the view of just the person you're interviewing and then the view of just you. If you can record the two video streams separately, that's even better. The idea is you want to be able to edit it to eliminate yourself interviewing. Unless you've decided that your testimonial style is going to be where you're showing both people being interviewed, and that would make sense in certain situations. It might make sense from a membership perspective, but a straightforward, easy rule of thumb is to just do the single person. Make sure that you let the person speak uninterrupted so that you can edit yourself out. Sometimes there's a little crossover between audio and where the video switches, so keep that in mind. Make sure the client or whoever you're interviewing is wearing headphones or using an external mic so they get great audio. Most people have a pair of cell phone headphones, and that makes it easy to get great sound quality. And always end your interview with these two questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add? And to make sure you've captured it, do you grant permission for us to use for us to feature your company or you in this testimonial in our marketing materials? Now I'm going to give you the rest of the questions that you should ask before these. So this is getting recorded. You can watch the recording and capture these interview questions. I have two sets for you. This first set is adapted from StoryBrand. Really great set of questions. And the key with these questions is it's really about a before and after. It's what were the challenges they were experiencing before and what is the result they saw after. This is not really an interview about what they did with you. And that's what's going to make a really effective testimonial. Here's another set of questions, very similar. Notice I asked you the first question when you joined today. What prompted you to start looking for a solution like and put in your service or your program or your organization's name? So those are two sets of questions. I'm not going to read them to you. You can come back and record them. But what I am going to do is now take you through the process. I'm going to show you an actual recording, raw recording, unedited, that I did with the fabulous Portia Collins. Portia, are you on the call today? She might even be here. So I'm going to hop on over to my other screen. Now, I recorded this on Zoom, and then I uploaded it to a service called Temi, which will automatically pull the text from the recording. It's done by a computer. Now, Temi's gone up in price and I haven't been using it as much since then, but it is really helpful to get your audio transcribed automatically. So you can see my whole interview is basically just 5 minutes. So let's take a listen. And let me know in the chat if you can hear it. So we had a consulting session and you shared a bunch of things with me. Will you just share for other people what was the challenge that you were facing before we had our call?
Well, walking into my board meeting, not feeling very supported, not feeling, honestly, going in with a doom and gloom mindset, like this isn't working, and just feeling very undervalued and unappreciated. And I never in a million years would have thought that we would have gotten the outcome that we got post my conversation, my consultation with you. And things worked out wonderfully. After speaking with you, I felt more equipped, and I guess you would say, what am I looking for? Confident in my skill sets, like knowing that, okay, like I can do this. I have the skills to be able to do this. I also used your recommendation of the managing complex change, that model, and like my board members loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I mean, I got calls days after the meeting, and many of them said, like, this is like the best meeting I think that we've had to date. And I would 100% agree. So I just really felt more in control, going in, kind of grabbing the bull by the horns, letting them know, being confident in my skill set, even though it's a difficult situation, we're facing some difficult financial things. I was able to kind of reassure them as a person who has the skill sets to be able to get the job done. I was able to reassure them, but also to get that buy-in from them. Like there were some things that I didn't even have to say in the meeting because many of them stepped up and said it in terms of how we need to be fundraising and more engagement from the board. Like that's where we ended our meeting, and I was like, yes, so I appreciate you so much. It was such a help to me, and trust me, this will not be the last time that you see me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I remember when you wrote to me, you were just like, maybe I should just give up now. And I'm so glad to hear that things have completely turned around. What would you say to somebody who was on the fence about whether or not they should sign up for one of my free consultation calls?
Definitely sign up. What I love the most is you are not selling. Like, you're not, this is not a sales call. This is not, I'm trying to push you into something. Like, the entirety of our time was spent on addressing what my issue was and you helping me to find, a solution. And I don't think that I've ever been on a call like that. So I would 100% tell anybody to sign up, and like literally it is a free consultation, and it was a blessing, and if anything it has motivated me to figure out how I can financially support, and get linked in with PivotGround.
Great, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about your experience that might help other people?
Just being really thankful. Like I said, I haven't even approached my 1 year mark as an executive director. So I think that I would call it like mentorship like this, and like just being able to have this type of access as a new ED is like an incredible resource. And so, if like I said, if anybody's on the fence or anything like that, I would say jump in. I love the Facebook group. It's so encouraging and helpful, being able to connect with people. It's like you don't feel like you're out there in the water by yourself. And so, yeah, that's it.
All right, so did you hear how I'm using the questions from those to interview question sets? You can mix them together if you want. It flowed like a natural conversation. It wasn't really that awkward. And those specific questions that I've shared with you, and I've tried a number of questions over the years, but the ones that I've shared with you are my really refined go-to set that time and again pull out the good stuff. So what do we do from here? We have a transcript. It's kind of rough when a computer does it, but that's fine. So let's get to our next steps, because once you have that, you have your interview, you are ready to refine. Let me just hop back here into full screen. There we go. So from there, of course, you can produce the video into an edited video that you can use, but you also have lots and lots of lines now, text. So the first thing I do is I pass through and I kind of clean up a few paragraphs, pulling what I think are the most valuable things. So I just turn that long transcript into several paragraphs like this. This is a good length for a case study, but it's still a little long for a testimonial. So I just go ahead and work through it and pull out the best lines and distill it even more. So here is what I've distilled. I've pulled Portia's picture from LinkedIn, and here is her name, her role. And we have a longer testimonial. Before a consultation, I was walking into my board meetings with a doom and gloom mindset, feeling unsupported, undervalued, and unappreciated. After meeting with Sarah, things worked out wonderfully. I used Sarah's recommendations and my board members absolutely loved it. I received calls afterwards saying it was the best meeting we've had to date and would 100% agree. I would encourage anyone to sign up for a free consultation with Sarah. Now, once you've done your edits and you've got some versions you want to use, you can go back if you want to just really confirm with the person doing the testimonial that the way you've rearranged the words is still okay with them, because there's a little, we don't change the meaning, but it's helpful sometimes to change the order of words to make things a little more concise. So there is a refined testimonial that's really sharing the capturing those emotions that people had before and what they felt afterwards. So I'd love to know, because Portia is one of many of your peers, have you ever felt what Portia was feeling before our call. Have you ever walked into a board meeting with a doom and gloom mindset, feeling unsupported, undervalued, and underappreciated? Yes, yeah, I'm sure many people had. If you are a membership organization, your clients might say, you know, before I became a member, I felt isolated and I was suffering from imposter syndrome and I had trouble getting leads. I didn't have any networking ability. If you are a service organization, you might get answers like, you know, I was homeless, wandering the streets, suffering from anxiety. You might get things like, I had tried many services before and nothing was able to help me, and I felt very depressed and hopeless. You might get things like that. So you're really looking for that juicy before and then that bright future outcome. And you don't have to worry about the middle, which is what you do. So as always, you can apply for the same call that Portia and I had, and I thought I would add in a even more refined version. You should use your testimonials everywhere. You can go to pivotground.com/apply, or just go to pivotground.com and click on the apply for a call button. And Portia says, I would encourage anyone to sign up for a free consultation with Sarah.